And welcome to Fated Continuum, the legendary journeys. Fuck you, Kevin Sorbo, you stay in the back. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me is the man of 1,000 runes, the CEO of Zadari Enterprises, the editor-in-chief of Legend Edition, and the bane of my fucking existence, Good Brother Xanatrix.
Zadari Enterprises would like to remind you that Kevin Sorbo, while an entertaining Hercules, is not the best Hercules. Also, on top of that, we have our own Hercules, and his name is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I thought you were going to go with Lou Ferrigno.
I could go with Lou Ferrigno, but I think it's funnier to go with the one role where his accent was still so bad he had to overdub it after.
Yeah, he was... yeah, Hercules in New York, I can't forget about that. I was just going to go with Lou Ferrigno for throwing a bear into space.
Yeah, but you're also going with Lou Ferrigno because he's also, well, the Hulk.
Yes. who he also fought a bear as, and not a CG bear, because this was still the 70s. Oh.
Lou Ferrigno fights bears. I think there's an issue.
Yeah. Oh. Though apparently wrestling a bear was just something that could happen. Oh. Especially in the more carny days of wrestling. I think.
Yes.
I think Roddy Piper told a story about wrestling a bear and how it was the worst experience ever.
I mean, if you're not careful, you're gonna lose your talent.
Amongst other things.
Bears are no fucking joke.
Mm-hmm.
But with that in mind, I would also like to say that Zadari Enterprises has decided that We will, in fact, take some of the feedback into consideration regarding why don't we test our death machine, mecha, with AI pilots. We have done so. It went off to fight Godzilla because it watched Jet Jaguar. If there is a giant robot looking around Tokyo for Godzilla, I'm sorry. More sorry, not sorry, but I'm sorry. Just make a giant Godzilla balloon. When he pops it, he'll come home. Otherwise, you're gonna have a giant robot around Tokyo for like the next 300 years.
But now I will also note that I have considered writing a piece about what Legend Edition is and isn't, because I have seen some confusion on that matter. For those of you who didn't see it, there was a comment on the itch page that kind of went into that. And I will note that I think among some people who have looked over the system, there is a bit of a misunderstanding. I think there are some that because of the fact that I'm using a D20 as the core mechanic, this assumption that a lot of the motifs you would see in a D20 based game are going to be applicable here, and especially some of the design principles. We have been asked multiple times to make some sort of GM guide or something like that to teach people how to play. I have resisted that, and until I am given a convincing argument by Zan, Matt, Nami, and Enix, I see no reason to change my mind on that. As I've mentioned in the past, I did write one at one point, but the wording for it was not very specific. It felt like the kind of thing I would see in a generic advice thing from like any of the GM advice videos you get from Dimension 20 or Matt Colville. And what I see it as is people assuming that you are doing an adventure the way you'd set up an adventure in, say, D&D, and that's not really what Legend Edition is. Legend Edition is not a theme park. We have nothing against theme park design, but Legend Edition isn't that, and we never intended it to be. This is why questions on I'd say one of the more recurring questions we get is on encounter balancing.
Yes. And this is something that I've gone into ad nauseum at this point, almost ad infinitum.
Mm-hmm.
This game has multiple layers of granular customization baked in at every level, from the very beginning of character creation all the way through to equipment, and it's everywhere. It's
mm-hmm.
all over the book. It's one of our pillars. Customization is key.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the fact that there is such a large, both wide and deep customization, creating a standardized encounter balance, or any sort of standardized balancing in general for how to build your adventure, how to build your gameplay loop, things of that nature. There's no way to standardize it easily. You'd have to create such a situational engine. It'd be a program of its own right, and it would be huge. The broadest strokes standardization we can give still is not going to apply in even 50% of cases due to multiple things.
Encounter design in Legend Edition is going to have less in common with encounter design in a D&D adjacent game and more akin to encounter design in a non-linear style game, like any of the World of Darkness games, or GURPS, or Savage Worlds, or Besm, or just any game that is not using a strict leveling system. Obviously, games like the upcoming Shadowscar have threat levels, but those threat levels are extremely broad, much like our difficulties for monsters is extremely broad.
And the point of Shadowscar is not necessarily to fight either, but that's something we've covered in other videos.
And I'll probably be revisiting that since the Kickstarter for that drops next month.
The big issue I have with these questions, not just for encounter balance, but in general, is that the questions either miss the point that you can't balance for certain things, such as knowing how many quests your party's going to want, or knowing, what hooks are going to keep the party interested. There's also questions we get, such as, how to prepare, or whether they should even prepare or improvise. That's a matter of taste. That's isn't even something.
That's not something I can design for.
Exactly. Like, how to prepare the adventure. Well, I mean, the most advice I can give is consult with your players, see what type of game you all want to play, and design from there. There you go. That's not something that is gameplay or mechanically associated. That is kind of general information for playing games with people, regardless of their tabletop, regardless if they're board games, card games, regardless if they're video games. That's like generic information for playing game with people. That's like, how do you miss that most basic information of consult with the other people you're playing with to see what you want to play?
I would say this is in the last year, I've really gotten a taste for how deep the D20 brain rot can get. And one of the big things that we have seen within that D20 bubble, and even the old school crowd are not immune to this. Don't think that you're getting off easy on this. Is this notion of telling the table what to do, rather than letting them come up with it organically.
Even Monty Cook does that now. Actually, funny thing, Monk, on some of the ads for the new Cypher system, Monty Cook has actually put up videos saying, this is how I find a way to keep my players more engaged. And he prefaces it by saying it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Man, talk about character development. Monty Cook third edition of the most litigious game ever versus Monty Cook now. Man, that is one of the biggest character development arcs I've ever seen in this real life anime. But
oh yeah.
But the big thing is, like, engaging with your players, engaging with the people that you are having a game with, is kind of the fundamental basis. And asking us, well, you should put this in a GM guide. How do I build an adventure? Or it would be like, how to build an adventure. Talk to your players, you dumbasses. I would feel like we were condescending to, because it would feel like we're condescending to the person who's looking for this advice, because the only advice we can give is, there is no advice other than consult with your players to determine what type of game you want to play. So the idea that we need a GM guide is frankly spurious.
And many times
asinine.
Many times when this has been brought up, what I've always found very telling is no one's willing to actually say what should be in it aside from the broadest of terms. So I have no idea what to do with that info. Because...
You know what?
Go ahead.
You're right. You're right. Also, Sig, get in here if you want to have words about this. You're encouraged. You're fucking encouraged. Jump on in, dude.
Yep.
But you're right. It's they only give us the most bare bones, broad strokes, bullet points. They don't give us, well, I need information about X. It's like, okay, you want us to tell you how to build the game. We've given you the tools to build the game. Now go at it. This isn't a Lego set. This is the bucket of Legos. We've said that repeatedly. This is not a theme park. This is a toolbox.
Yes.
And so Sig might join us to rant about this for a second, but he'll be a few minutes, Monk.
All right.
But the type of advice I can give personally is read the book in detail, because I know that with the post that we're referencing, the person clearly did not.
He clearly did not, and I told you that what raised my eyebrow was him saying, "We want to play your game, but we don't know how." And whenever someone uses a royal we, I get suspicious.
Yeah. Some of the questions they asked are, when to allow heroes to rest and recover. I'm like, please read our book. HP and MP are restored after every combat. Consumables have one use per scene, but that's renewed between scenes. There's no point where you go, oh man, I need to let them recover their resources. Their resources recover every fucking scene.
That was one of the red flags that said, my D20 brain rot senses are tingling, because the idea of how many resources you're supposed to expend over a session is a conversation that D&D folk and D20 brain rotted folk have had for years. And hell, even brother Tanner has that as part of his design ethos within Heavens and Heresy, where he wants people to exhaust about half of their resources and I believe it was in a encounter or in a session. And
in an encounter,
yeah,
usually.
And that was to reinforce the dark fantasy approach that he's going with.
Yes. And you see, but he designed for that. Tanner designed for that. And it's a thing that we love about Heavens and Heresies, because it's very clear from the core of its design. Yeah, he wants you to be team players. He wanted to absolutely encourage team play and tactical play. 2, everything has its own unique role that works well and synergizes with others. And 3, you're gonna get fucked. Like, yep. There are some brutal things that happen in Heavens and Heresies, but it's all there from the get-go. Tanner designed for that.
Knock, motherfuckers.
Hey, Stig. We designed for a game that is supposed to feel like you're playing Final Fantasy. We designed a game that everybody here who's played a Final Fantasy knows that the only reason Final Fantasy might feel difficult is because you just don't get it yet. Every fucking game gets easy once you've grasped the core. When you grasp the core of one, the game becomes simple. When you grasp the fact that you can attack your own allies until they dodge literally everything, including, but not limited to, acts of God. Oh, hey. Adding Sig's token there, I see.
Yep.
But up to and including acts of God, yes, you found the way to break Final Fantasy 2. You go to Final Fantasy 6. Oh, certain stats are bugged. Might as well take advantage of that and dodge everything.
Exactly.
Move on to Final Fantasy 9. Oh, there is a perfect path through this game that isn't hard to achieve at all. To get a sword within less than 12 hours and every fucking ability. every game, every fucking Final Fantasy game is in some way, shape, or form, once you've grasped that core thing, it's easy. And so part of what we wanted to do was Final Fantasy makes you feel powerless, not through the mechanics, but through events that occur in story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are things that happen to... Let's go with 12. There's a bunch of shit that happens in 12 that makes you feel like everything's falling down around you. Not the least of which, the goddamn opening. Man, I wish we'd gotten Rex instead of Vaughn, but, fucking executives are gonna exec.
Exactly.
I'd say execs and Fujoshi.
Oh, for fuck's sake, don't even get started on those.
But our game is not meant to make you feel like you're slowly bleeding out while adventuring. It's to make you feel like you're having... You know what? Here's the perfect way to get the feeling across. Go listen to the first map theme of Final Fantasy V. Go listen to it. Just listen to the full thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is the feeling you should be feeling while adventuring. You should feel tension, yes, but upright and plucky about a lot of things until you get into a dungeon.
Funny thing you should mention that, because when I was writing Rites of En Massa, that's part of what I was listening to while I was doing the writing for it.
Yeah, and the thing is that a lot of people have had to learn the hard way that even if you've played certain games for years, that doesn't mean you can transplant the knowledge of those games wholesale into what Legend Edition is. You have to take it on its terms. If you don't, you're gonna be dealing with the consequences. And if you end up assuming that this is Final Fantasy with a D&D pick an edition paint on it, and you get shown your ass about it, I have no sympathy. I am following the example of the Casali brothers.
As you should.
Yeah, and for those who do not know, the Casali brothers, who have a long and illustrious history in game development, and if I was developing a game, I would hire the shit out of both of them. Especially one of them who revisited TNT and may have had an emotional breakdown going through how bad TNT was, and he worked on TNT. When they were interviewed by Doom World, I think in 2000, they were asked about whether or not the plutonium experiment was made too hard, and they're like, we have no sympathy for anyone picking up, going on ultraviolence, and complaining that it's too hard. We made it for people who had already played through Doom 2 and wanted a new challenge. And, well, I'd say they understood the assignment.
Someone who has played through this, 3+ times, I can confirm.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Don't get me wrong, they did a... I've cited the plutonium experiment as an example of evil design. Not bad, evil.
Because it is, and that was the point.
But every game can be someone's first, but also every game should be treated as its own beast.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
if someone's going to make a bunch of D&D assumptions just because I use a D20, you get no sympathy.
Just because we use all of the polyhedral dice does not mean that we are like the most ubiquitous and litigious game ever.
I can confirm this.
And if someone really was gonna make that claim, then counterpoint, Lex Arcana uses the entire range of dice, and I defy anyone to tell me Lex Arcana is anything like the D20 system that people are all familiar with. Those of you who would make that claim, I will likely have you in gladiator training by the end of the week.
Can I just fire them out of a cannon?
No, too easy. We're having them march with the Legionnaires.
But I have a man launcher on the robots now, Monk.
Is it the one from Halo 3?
No, it's the one from the Angry Marines different Titans.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Remember, always angry all the time. But
unfortunately, they don't get power. They don't get any power armor.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. We can clean up the tomato paste later.
Yeah. But and it's funny that you decided to hop in because you just did a one shot of Legend Edition earlier today.
Yeah.
I had sniped a little bit of it, but I had to leave early because of obligations.
That's perfectly fine. I'm going to put the VOD up later.
Mm-hmm. But a lot of the vibe that I got is that a lot of the demands for clarification or certain guidances that we've gotten from some folk, you didn't have that issue at all.
Not at all. It's like a good friend of mine once said, read the fucking manual.
Oh, we RTFM all the time.
Yeah.
We tell people to RTFM all the time.
I can't tell you how many times I had to go back and forth and refer to it, even during the game itself, just to, make sure I was doing things right and making sure everything was as fair as could possibly be for the players.
Mm-hmm.
Fairness in our game? Perish the thought.
But yeah, aside from the one thing you pointed out, Mildra, I had no problems with it. It was fairly smooth and simplistic.
Yeah.
Even if I did have to go back and refer to things a number of times, and I had handwritten my own notes during the session when I was running it.
Well, and having to go back and refer to our material is, I'm going to say it right now. This is a new game. This is not a game that has been out forever and ever and ever. This is a game with a lot of information. Very dense.
Absolutely.
Like I said, we went both wide and deep because Final Fantasy itself is wide and deep.
Exactly, and that was the vibe I was trying to capture, and thankfully my players read their own rule sets, and we got through it no problem.
Good. And I'm guessing that is more than the effort of just one session, though. You've sat down and talked to your players before. You've primed them.
Oh yeah, I basically said, hey, this is what it's going to be. This is what we're going to do. What kind of players are you going to go in with? What are your expectations? Some things that game masters should do.
Yeah, there's no way I can really teach that. And when it comes to the rules sinking in more, to reference one of my favorite lines, you know how you get into Carnegie Hall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Practice.
Practice.
Mm-hmm.
But which judging from the fun that my players had with the session today, it's definitely going to be a full campaign. So I'm going to get a lot of practice.
Hey, that's good. And the point I'm getting at though here is having to refer back to our over 800 pages of total content, counting both core book and Ultimania, is almost expected because there are a lot of things that you can interact with, and you're not going to remember all of them all at once. It's just not possible. Even us, the developers, who built this thing from the ground up, forget details and have to go back to remind ourselves. I do it all the time when I'm Q&Aing with people in the Discord server. And yes, if anyone has any questions about mechanics and details, come into the Discord server, go into FFLE General, ask your questions, or check the errata channels, use the search function to see if the type of question you have has already been answered. We are more than happy to help you out and give you the necessary context. And we're also more than happy to make, if a mechanic is, even to us, not as obviously clear as it should be, we'll errata it. We have 2 errata docs that are full of changes we're making to make things clearer and more stable that way. But beyond all that, when you have to get into this game, Sig, I know you said you said you had words. When you have to get into this game as a GM, Do you expect us to tell you how to design your adventure?
Oh, hell no. I mean, I fully expected when I was reading the book that I was going to do my own thing. And thankfully, I had a world left over that was from an old project I had written, God, back in 2017, and I repurposed it for this world and just kind of built it around there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if you had to give advice to some of these people on our itch page asking for the type of guidance that they have been, what advice would you give them?
Come to the server, as you said before, ask your questions there, and read the fucking manual.
RTFM is definitely the one that I will give literally everyone in any, because holy shit, if you haven't read our book enough to know that there are certain questions you shouldn't even need to ask because it's not relevant, go away. Just go the fuck away.
Yeah.
I know that sounds shitty. I know I sound like one of them. For a second, I almost sound like one of those devs who says, if you don't like our game, don't play it, and then the game never gets anything. But you see, what I'm saying here is not something that offends everybody. What I'm saying here is, read our fucking book if you want to play the game. If you're not going to read the book, then why the fuck are you here?
Exactly. And man, I mean, I still thumb through it for a lot. Even during like breaks at work, because there's still so much I don't know, and stuff I'm kind of trying to build around my own world that we all played in.
And it's for that reason that I even started this whole Fated Continuum thing, which, even if I didn't have the name down pat yet, I knew I was going to be doing this series just to showcase what can be done within the system, since versatility was a key thing. And if I'm being honest, I think a lot of people have a bit of brain rot about trying to replicate one or two games and that's it. I can't remember who it was, but I did see that one thing about trying to do job crystals like from 14, and let me see who was it? Oh yeah, it was Mr. Amov who brought it up. And I will reiterate what I said in the Discord. I don't think job crystals as they're presented in FF14 are something that really warrants its own mechanics.
Because you already have the base class system, and that, is, I feel like it's more than enough.
That and the whole getting the crystal to do the upgrade is something that is only applicable to the classes from ARR.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on top of that, the other issue I have is, if you want to emulate the job crystal system from 14, what you're doing is essentially making modular job tracks. And I remember that when we first discussed possibly creating an alternative rule set that does that, and I came to the conclusion of, there's a lot of shit that changes when you switch out a job track. A lot of stuff changes. That is a fuck ton of bookkeeping to put on a player and a GM.
I was also reminded of when Project Seed tried that, and Project Seed is the most of the Returners projects, or the second generation Returners projects, is probably one of the most modular, just shy of Zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
But it is also a nightmare to work with, because they decided to do a license board completely straight.
Jeez. It's bunkers and badasses all over again. At least that's what it sounds like.
Not entirely, because Bunkers and Badasses wasn't nearly as modular. Mostly because B&B spent half the damn book just on modules.
Yeah. All right, I concede that point.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, if someone wants to homebrew any of these things that are mentioned, anytime we go, we're not going to design it. I think that's another misconception that I personally want to address.
Mm-hmm.
every time we're in the Discord or on one of these streams and saying we have no interest or intention of designing X, Y, or Z, you know, we say.
Nope. Hold on a moment. Discord decided to derp. So give it a second.
You can't make that. It's like homebrew you want, but we're not going to be the ones designing that. That's the thing. We have no interest or intent to design further than what we have done so at this time. That may change in the future. Who knows? I don't know. But no, Dragon, I'm not Canadian. I just find saying Zed to be a more pleasant mouthfeel. I just like saying it. The point though is that just because someone brings up, oh, this thing is cool, you know, you should design it for the game. Well, no, you design it for the game. You want it. We think it's a cool idea, but we are not the ones who are going to design it. Go ahead, homebrew it, do it. Even post it up on our homebrew tabs or anything else. You whatever you'd like to do, homebrew it. We'd love to see
which I
that.
have plans to do.
Yeah,
but that's also because you're a reasonable person who understands that we're not limiting anybody by saying that we're not going to create a something.
One of the things I said when I first came to the monastery is I enjoy tinkering with stuff, and that still remains true even with this system.
Yeah, and
good.
I know the version of this in 5 years is going to look a lot different after people have homebrewed and messed around with it, much in the same way that any game once you've got a few homebrews and expansions is going to have a different vibe. That's just the nature of the beast. But all in all, the Legend Edition was always built with the idea of giving a lot of support to a DIY mindset. When I bring up the blue bucket of Legos, that isn't some sort of marketing gimmick. It is in reference to a core philosophy when it comes to the game. This is a game that is built for that kind of thing. The most that I might do is write a hacker's guide, and even then, I don't see myself doing that for months
or longer.
Yeah, I am. That being said, I am still intent on doing the reviews of past design challenges, and rest assured, there will be a new design challenge for October.
That reminds me, I gotta take my old design, and I'm definitely gonna be reworking it now that I've had some experience in running the game. I think I understand it a little better, and I'll be playtesting some things, but we'll see what happens.
Was there anything that you had an assumption about that was proven otherwise during play?
Yeah, established conventions are nothing. You just have to play it by ear sometimes.
What do you mean?
We're doing it live?
Well, I'm more in reference to the Psychic when I tried to build it off of a mix of some FFX2 stuff and whatnot, but more. I think it was more two of my players in particular. Well, all of them. Tab with her Soul Eater, which was pretty straightforward. The Ravager was beastly once we got into it. I mean, I didn't know it could fire off that many spells in one turn, but I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. With the amount of enemies I was throwing at them, yeah, they tore through them like they were nothing almost. At least the smaller enemies. Let me think. Well, a couple of them had Swarm on their weapons. That was actually pretty neat, because they still managed to hit something. I think that's really it, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is not like any other system I've run, and I've only run a few in the past.
Mhm. Though,
But it's
given what you've dealt with in the valley, you're no doubt aware that the games that I put forward are not what anyone's going to be expecting.
better than running the same fucking retro clones every now and again.
Nobody expects the monastic inquisition.
I leave the whole running the same game in perpetuity over to fake Ultramen.
Ethereal does make a good point here. GM should determine what jobs and races should be available when planning the campaign, which is something I did. Since Evilise is a favorite of mine, I opted to go for the Evilise races, which, created a lot more variety in the party than I even expected.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, all you're saying, Dragon, is GMs should do their job.
Which is what I do.
That is literally like GMs should determine what's available to players.
I do my job and I do it well. Thank you.
Yes, that is what a GM does. They determine what's available to the players and then let them play around with it. If that's what people want in our fucking GM guide, I want to hang myself.
Well,
it might actually be quite therapeutic for my spine.
One of my Bonga player actually asked me before coming into the game, hey, Bonga aren't really built for magic stats. Could I use this stat block instead? Referring to the Tarus, I'm like, a magical Bonga. I like it. Go for it.
Okay. I have to take an aside here. I do. I really do. When it comes to our races, Bonga not being built for magic, quote unquote,
yes, I
is
see.
Not really true.
Yeah, and also thank you, Brian, for the resub.
Like, it's not really true, and the reason I say it's not really true is because every race gets a choice of one physical and one mental, or in the case of androids, any one. One physical or one mental stat. And the Bonga have vitality or spirit. Spirit is tied directly to how much MP you have.
Yes,
and it can be an MCM. The only thing that you could argue is not magically inclined is the bonus feat categories. But
yeah,
that's you have a chance to go, okay, so I'll go spirit. I'll go fortune or subterfuge instead of melee combat if you want to be, a magical Bonga. And then I'm going to take the mage class and my MCM, or no, I'm going to take the adept class and make sure that my MCM is spirit. And I'm gonna, and I want to be magical, but I don't want to be like just the back end mage. I'll go black mage magic knight and choose a third. There are plenty of ways to take something that in universes in the games are not traditionally, words, goddammit, traditionally magical or physical in nature and make them as such. I mean, if we look at our Taru, there's definitely a way to make a fucking badass Taru. The Taru are the only ones who can only choose between MCM type ability modifiers that I've seen so far. There's probably more in the Ultimania somewhere. Oh no, Varg use only physicals.
Yeah.
But the point is, you can still make this Taru an absolute beast of a physical fighter if you want. It's the greatness of our system. You are not constrained so much as you are given interesting ways to do stuff.
And that is a nice segue to go into Final Fantasy II. The game that, even though it's gotten multiple re-releases over the course of 20 plus years, it still has a reputation as being the red-headed stepchild of Final Fantasy. Now, admittedly, some of that is due to the fact that it took so long for it to come stateside, even though there was a NES translation that was made and then dropped. I don't think we got it in an official capacity in the West until
Final Fantasy Origin.
Yeah, Origins on the PlayStation 1.
Yep.
Good version, by the way.
And I'm well aware that there's a lot of people who roast the learn by doing thing when it comes to its mechanics. When it comes to those people, to that I say, I really, really hope you don't have a few hundred hours in Elder Scrolls games, because that would be embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Because the learn by doing thing is exactly what Elder Scrolls has been using since day fucking one.
Mm-hmm.
Or, for a more simplified but still relevant example, from Square, no less, I really, really, really hope you don't like playing the mana games.
Which is a damn shame, because I love the mana games.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is, in most of the mana games, getting better at your weapons is, well, it's fighting.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, if we look at Secret of Mana specifically, I know people will be like, Secret of Mana, you had to get weapon orbs! Yeah. Yeah,
you actually had to fucking use your weapons, too.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm.
Or let's just break this down. Learn by doing. You mean gaining experience.
Yeah. The point is that I feel a lot of people should not throw stones in that glass house. Now, when I did a bit of research into, and of course Dow brings up the Saga series, which fair. It's the same principle. I don't think it's fair to get on this one game for this learn by doing thing that was very exploited, when other games have had that same setup and been just as, if not more, exploitable. That was especially why I brought up the Elder Scrolls, because I exploited the shit out of its skill system. But as I understand it, it is easy to go, well, why didn't they just stick to what they did before? It's easy to look at that kind of thing in hindsight when there isn't really a formula established yet. If I were to use a similar example, look at these shifts between Castlevania 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of those kind of cases, it's an instance of you've got a runaway success, but you don't quite know what about the original was successful, and just doing the original again isn't going to cut it. And I look at 2 as kind of the entry point for a lot of things that would be tradition. One of them being not sticking to tradition in certain ways, which is something that even some of the most so-called diehard fans of Final Fantasy struggle with.
As I continue to say, as I have continued to say, ever since people have been bitching about Final Fantasy's changes all the way back during 9. Final Fantasy's roots are not in medieval or high fantasy or in turn-based. Final Fantasy's roots are in iteration and experimentation. So, its roots are in constantly changing.
Pretty much. And the only way to read that in any good faith is in that fashion, unless you want to read it in bad faith and say that it's rootless. But
people say it's rootless. At that point, I just look at them and I laugh.
yeah, Dragons says what was wrong with 9. It's more that you have. I think a lot of people forget how divisive 9 was at first.
9 was one of those games where the people who really liked what had been going on with Final Fantasy through 6, 7, and 8 looked at 9 at first with trepidation because it looked like 9 was going backwards. Whereas other people, grognards, were like, yes, Final Fantasy's finally going back to what it's supposed to be. And it's like, you're a special one with a capital Q, aren't you?
Yeah.
It was at that time that I was like, Final Fantasy IX is going to be probably a very good Final Fantasy game because it wasn't out yet. Just because Square has got some pretty quality beggars no matter which one you point at, because whether you like or dislike a Final Fantasy is usually just down to taste. It's really usually just down to, well, there are things this Final Fantasy I really liked, and this Final Fantasy things I really like.
Like, my hatred of Grognard does not limit itself to just D&D.
Grognard is... We've been through that.
Yeah.
Go look through our numerous videos and see how many times we talked about the word grog.
Now,
But,
as far as the intent, when it came to the design philosophies within 2, it came down to a few things. One, they wanted to tell a more character specific story, which 2 very much is. You instead of the Warriors of Light, you have a defined caste, which is something that would largely stick around in the game's following, even when the job system came back. I think the last major entry that did a generic caste was 3, which we will get to in a couple weeks. And Dow brings up Final Fantasy compared to Dragon Quest. I had stated a few months ago that that's part of the reason I feel Dragon Quest lost its footing. Not just with Final Fantasy, but with the entire video game RPG market, where it was largely sticking to its guns while everyone else was experimenting with that base. And even when Dragon Quest started to implement vocation systems, it felt like little brother behavior.
Dragon Quest is learning.
Yeah, I mean, it learned.
11 is a great indication of it learning.
I feel like they didn't start learning until they started bringing in other people, like with 8, which was a level 5 joint.
Possibly. But the big thing with 2, other than it being a very character focused story,
they wanted to go with nurture instead of nature. Is what I was going to go to.
Yeah.
And the exploits that emerged from that caught them by surprise. They didn't think people would do that.
I mean, if you're going to give me a system where I can face the weakest enemy in the game and let them hit me until my evasion is so high that they can't hit me, and so now I have to hit myself until I can't hit me, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. But when it and this is also this, and I think something else that is amusing is a lot of people have made parallels between Final Fantasy II and Star Wars Episode 4. Now, part of that is not too surprising. Japan really, really loved Star Wars, and Star Wars came out right when there was a lot of artistic movements in Japan, especially in the 1970s. I mean, we've talked about the Gekiga movement. You have the renaissance of sorts of tokusatsu. You have probably what's considered the peak of you have the Showa era of Godzilla, where Godzilla was really coming into its own, and other things like Gamera and Mothra, even if I hate those fairies. You also have the rise of the two schools of thought in Purores. Strong Style and King's Road. And subsequently the death of the JWA, but the JWA was already on its way out anyways.
It was already circling the drain.
And the big one is the Gakiga movement, which, Sig, have I ever gone into what that was with you?
I don't think you have, no.
You mind doing this one, Zen, or should I? Since I had brought it up when we talked about the gods of Mecha.
I think it's a good idea for you to do it. I've done a lot of evangelizing already.
All right, fair. The Gakiga movement was a art movement in the late 60s and early 70s, with the goal of trying to show that manga could be more than just gag comics, which was the stereotype throughout the 60s. And guys like Go Nagai were at the forefront of the Gakiga movement. This is where they were trying to show that you could do a lot more with manga. And
I should at least play a little bit of a flutter here, Monk, and note that Kikiga is meant to mean something like action pictures.
Yeah.
Dramatic pictures from what I could see.
Mm-hmm. And well, Nagai's company is called Dynamic Planning.
Nowadays, yeah, Nagai did not. Dynamic planning is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. But the other thing that kind of started within this, like, looking back, there's a lot of things that are considered tradition with FF that really started with 2. This is our first introduction to Chocobos and Sid, for instance. And I think one of the writers outright said they wanted that Sid was intended to be a Yoda-like figure. Which sometimes he is. But you also have the introduction of the whole front row, back row approach. Characters who are in the back row were immune to most physical attacks except for bows and magical attacks. And it's all the more reason why I have resisted writing a grid combat system for Legend Edition personally.
There's no need for it.
Now, if someone wants to insist on it, like when 12 did, like 12 verbs over in the Discord, I'm not going to stop them from doing it. I'm just not doing it myself, and it's because the row system is far more ingrained, and as I've mentioned too, that doing grid combat when it's not something I designed for, to quote Batman Forever, it just raises too many questions.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say one of the other major things that was put forth here, though it hasn't made as much of a comeback in subsequent games, was the keyword idea, which we kind of did a callback to in the Ultimania guide. The idea that you can learn special words and phrases and use them with other NPCs. As well as special items. Now, both that and the skill system are not things that we would try and bring over into Legend Edition, because it's just not going to work, and we already have enough non-linear setups as is. There's not enough of a reason to do that. Plus, I think trying to do the weapon advancement setup would create more problems than it solves.
Mhm.
And now, once again, I will note, as far as the different changes, I have not played the Pixel remasters yet. The last version of FF2 that I played was the one on the PSP, which is a good port. I will note that.
It is a great port, and it has some extra content in it.
Mm-hmm. Because a port having extra content is just the way it goes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yep. Like, you add that whole Soul of Rebirth, but I'd say one of the other major things is having a rotating cast, which is something that would become a frequent thing in future games, as well as the risk of character death. They very much wanted to go for a darker story.
Mm-hmm.
And while I have brought up that people have made the Star Wars illusions, in reality, the Star Wars illusions in FF2 are kind of surface. Mostly because trying to do the that kind of hero's journey with a party-based story doesn't really work. I mean, is it possible to do it? Yeah, but it's not a great idea to do it. Oh. It is. There's also the fact that if you really want to do that whole chosen hero thing, that works better when you have just one playable character, which is why you can do that kind of thing with, say, Clive. He isn't exactly doing the hero's journey in that sense, but there is some parallels, and it is ultimately his story.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people will bring up Ramza from Tactics. Ramza is not doing the hero's journey at all.
Mm-mm.
If anything, the tale that you're doing with Tactics has more in common with Shakespearean tragedies or Greek tragedies than anything else.
Mm.
As well as everything being told after the fact in this was the real story of what happened. That's kind of the framing device within Tactics that I think a lot of people forget. Then again, I've seen a lot of people have brain rot over Tactics, but aren't able to specify the parts of the story that they actually enjoyed. Which I'm not saying that's not the case. It's just amusing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the first thing to tackle would be how to handle it in terms of a class and job setup. But I think the first thing is, once again, Humes only.
Mm-hmm.
Humes only, no subtypes. Now, when we tackled the class and job setups for the Party of Light, as I called it, for FF1, we had some difficulties with some. Looking at you, Monk, you're ashamed to the name with your weird ass design, where being butt naked is actually the better option.
Yeah.
And
We'll talk about that right now.
And us racking our brains trying to figure out, okay, what exactly changes going from monk to master?
Not much.
I guess the master's more of a fan of the Motley.
That is a bad joke. You should feel
Yes.
bad.
I know, but it had to be said, and it's true.
We are not going to a full Monty show. I've been there, done that. I got the T-shirt.
Won't do that again.
You should feel bad for your joke.
Yeah.
You can stab me in the head later.
So I know we are.
It's too quick.
So technically speaking, we already did Furion and Emperor Mateus in the core book, but that was mostly built on their Dissidia appearances.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to have that luxury here, but starting off with Furion.
Yep.
Now, it could be argued. Oh, you could use just about any combination because of the way characters are designed into. I can certainly see that argument, but I would disagree because that same argument could apply to 7 or even 10. And yet, practically speaking, that's not what happens.
Well, the best way to see who is, what sort of a pathway they have in front of them using their initial stats when you get them.
Mm-hmm.
I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
for example, I remember from playing certain versions, I think it was the Origins version, Furion has a high spirit stat, whereas Maria has a high intelligence stat.
Furion is kind of a midway between Guy and Maria.
Well, no, okay, so I actually have their stat pages open right now on the Final Fantasy Wiki,
Mm-hmm.
because empiricism is great. Furion has 10 levels in every stat except for HP and magic. It's 30 levels in HP and 5 levels in magic. He's very, very much, from what we see, he's meant to mostly be the all-rounder of the team.
Mm-hmm. And given that, I think the class and job setup that he should have is built on all-rounders and jack-of-all-trades types. So, as tempting as it would be to go with Warrior with him, I honestly think it should be an Adept.
Yeah.
I can concur with that.
Now, as far as the jobs,
I still think he should have Fighter, because again, since he's meant to be the all-rounder, he is also going to be the all-rounder when it comes to equipment.
yeah. And Fighter is the walking arsenal, so that would certainly fit.
But as for what he would get from Adept, since he has to have an Adept class, we're kind of spoiled for choice here. If we want to give him a little more magic, we make him a Magic Knight or a Paladin or an Oracle.
Mm-hmm.
If we wanted to make him a little more straight up dead killy, we could make him a ninja. Because let's be honest here, the ninjas in our game are kind of busted. I think that's every Final Fantasy though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If we wanted to make him a little bit more of an out of the box, we could, or an outside of the box, I should say. We could make him a blue mage, or even a rune knight. Though I don't think we should probably use rune knight since those mechanics weren't really present in this game.
Mm-hmm.
If we wanted to focus on him being more of a physical fighter, we could give him Sword Saint. Personally, if it were me, I would give him Magic Knight.
Yeah, I would say Magic Knight and probably Red Mage.
I could see that. I could actually see that. Yeah.
I am curious as to your reasoning on Blue Mage, Dan.
So while Blue Magic may not have, as we know it, have been present in Final Fantasy II, I'm just saying that if you want to make him a little more of that all-rounder that thinks outside of the box, you give him blue magic. Just because blue magic has a lot of very useful things, and you pick it up off of enemies, which kind of goes into the whole learning by doing thing for the game.
Mm-hmm. The other reason I wouldn't go with blue mage is blue mage didn't become a thing yet.
Yeah, I understand that.
But
God, what was the version of FF2 that I saw where Firion had a high spirit stat, like a 15 spirit stat? I feel like it was the NES translation. But I'm just trying to recall where I saw that. I think it was an old H.C. Bailey play of FF2.
He may have accidentally already leveled some of Furion's stuff.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to say it right now. Good choice. H.C. Bailey is a classic Let's Player.
Oh yeah, I've been a fan of him forever.
Mm-hmm.
I've been subbed to him since he was still only doing Mario Paint music.
Yeah. I do think that Furion's primary starting weapon should be a sword build.
Yes.
Since his starting weapon and his strongest weapon are both swords.
And the weapon he abuses most. Hello, blood sword, my beloved.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with a good sword.
Can't go wrong with a sword that drains HP as you hit people.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, that became his EX mode in Dissidia. But
yep.
With Maria, her weapon of choice was largely a bow.
Yeah, Maria, if we look at her initial stats, she has 20 levels in HP, 10 levels in MP, 5 in strength, 10 in experience, 15 in intelligence, 5 in stamina, 15 in agility, and 5 in magic.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't a super magic caster. But like if we use other extraneous information such as the cutscenes in Soul of Rebirth, where Maria is shown casting Holy, we can at least intuit that she is supposed to be the quote-unquote white mage of the group, outside of guest characters such as Mingwu.
She is most definitely the glass cannon. But
yep. But because of her starting intelligence, she's also really suited to black magic as well.
Yeah, I would say going with, as tempting as it would be to go with mage, I would actually go with expert.
Actually, I was just about to say that. I was like, with the stat block that I'm seeing, expert, mm-hmm. She seems a little more like.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so from expert, what job would we want to give her?
Let's see. I would say. I mean,
let's go. Let me go back to the expert classes. She uses a bow, so definitely I would say one of her classes should be sniper. But as far as an expert class,
see, that's the hard question now, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm gonna say. Let me look at this and see what I see here. I'm gonna say thief.
Thief is tempting. I was actually gonna go with chemist.
And see, me knowing what I do about Maria, I was gonna go with medic.
Yeah, medic works.
So we have a three-way tie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say of the three, medic is the most fitting. Black mage would probably be the middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the third one, which I will note this, I'm not doing full buy-in with any of these.
Yep.
I think the third one to go with is maybe sniper.
That's kind of what I was thinking about, but I would have put that.
Well, we aren't assigning any of the tracks. We're just saying that
That's
the three jobs are medic, black mage, sniper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that I can definitely agree with it.
And she's expert class.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we move on to Guy, and Guy is straight up warrior. I'm going to say that right now.
Guy is meant to be
sure.
the. Regardless of Guy's setup is very much the muscle.
Well, I mean, he's got 40 levels in HP, 15 levels in strength, and 15 in stamina, 5 in agility and magic, 10 in spirit and intelligence. The man's meant to hit things hard and get hit.
Yeah.
The man is a giant wall of meat, and he punches things into jibs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but there is one adept class I'm going to insist on. Beastmaster, because Guy speaks beaver.
Yeah. His weapon
I'm not
is
wrong, God damn it!
His weapon
I'm
is
not
going to be
saying
an
you
axe.
are. I just was like.
So I would say it'd be tempting to go with Berserker, but I don't feel that's apropos. I do, however, think Weapon Master is actually no. Sentinel is a must.
Okay.
As tempting as Berserker would be, I feel that's overcommitting.
I was about to say, I don't even think that even really applies here.
But Weapon Master, most definitely.
Sentinel, Weapon Master, Beastmaster.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Beastmaster because Guy speaks beaver.
Well, when I play FF2 finally, I will definitely look for that.
Yeah. So.
You not remember that scene where he speaks beaver?
Yeah.
I don't remember how far I played. It's been a while.
I'm just gonna pull up the screenshot.
Yeah.
It's a meme. It's a fucking meme, dude. Guy speak beaver.
Well, I see in the personality, Guy can understand beavers and speak with them. So it's like, okay.
Yeah. yes. Guys speak beaver.
Yep.
I mean, that's the line. That is literally the line.
So
I'm gonna post this in Counseled.
So then we have Leon. Oh.
Guy speak beaver.
Yeah.
Leon joins later on, and because of that, his levels are more advanced, and because they are advanced, choosing a setup for him will actually be easier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he has 1,098 levels in HP and still 5 in MP. So clearly he isn't really doing anything with his high intelligence or magic stats.
Yeah.
His highest stats are strength and stamina, followed closely by agility.
Mm-hmm.
And he also has proficiency. He has some proficiencies built up, with the highest being axes, the second being swords, and the third one being spears, which I think is what we should go with, especially with that agility.
If I may make an assertion, gentlemen.
Mental gen.
I would definitely go with Adept for this one, for the reason of, I mean, Dark Knight is an obvious choice.
Not necessarily, because even though he has the title of Dark Knight, the Dark Knight that we know wouldn't be a thing for a couple games.
Fair.
And the big thing I'm looking at here is, especially why I wanted to go with spears. In later versions of 2, when you go to the Arcane Labyrinth, his ultimate weapon is the Longinus, which is a spear.
No,
Yeah,
Ricard
okay.
was the first Dragoon. And the first Highwind. With Leon, I would say. Oh, and thank you, Hate Mate, for the follow. Hope you enjoy the madness. Aside from the fact that his sprite was just a recolor of the warrior sprite from FF1, I feel like with him, instead of going with Dark Knight, I would go with Knight. Just because it's let's not beat around the bush. Leon is meant to be FF2's version of Darth Vader.
Well, and on top of that, he his full name is Leonhardt Monk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least he doesn't talk to walls.
But I'd say Warrior is definitely the class that he has. And as far as
See that.
as far as the other parts, I'd say Knight, General, because well, he is a general in the story.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think you should get Sword Saint.
yes.
And he wields a big ass motherfucking spear because I said so.
Mm-hmm.
Also because it makes the most sense.
Which is amusing because a lot of times when that Dread Knight is seen, they're usually wielding a sword or a greatsword instead of a spear. But we do things differently because we like to live dangerously. So then there's Minwu, who I talked about previously. He already knows several white magic spells, and his ultimate weapon is the Staff of Light. And in Soul of Rebirth, it was the Stardust Rod. Minwu is a white mage.
He is. And he's just a mage straight up.
Yep, just a mage straight up. I would say white mage. It would be really funny to do white mage and Ravager, but no.
I'm going to spam cure spells, Monk.
Mm-mm.
By the way, I don't know. I don't think anybody's realized that particular combination, Monk. Everybody thinks the Ravager is an offensive class.
Yeah.
But you can spam cure.
Mm-mm. But I'm going with...
Tell that to my Ravager.
That they can spam cure?
They spent a lot of time spamming a lot of offense, but that's something I don't think occurred to them.
Yeah. If you have the spell, it's any spell between ranks 1 and 3 that you have access to. This includes curative spells. And it doesn't say you have to target opponents only.
Well, since he is the Royal Mage of Finn, Noble?
Yes. He'd absolutely have Noble.
So, White Mage, Ravager, and Noble. That's one hell of a combination.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But then there's...
Then we have Yosef.
Who is this... Because he's slightly higher at unarmed, he's described as leaning into monk, and well, his ultimate weapon is dragon claws, which claw weapons are always associated with monks in Final Fantasy. So let's let's call a spade a spade.
Yep. So we will say that he is warrior monk.
Oh. I would say also
Engineer.
engineer.
Remember that he built the snowcraft.
Fair.
I mean,
And given that his approach is he's more about offense than defense like Guy is. So I'm actually thinking Dynamo.
I could see Dynamo for Yosef.
Yeah. Hit him hard, hit him fast.
Mm-hmm.
Hit him often.
Mm-hmm.
So then there's Gordon.
Who has what I like to call no identity.
Yeah, which is why he was a temp.
Well, also, he's a coward. He is a depressed douchebag.
But his proficiencies are 2 and everything, and aside from HP and MP, he has 22 levels and everything. So let me put in Yosef. So with Gordon, I think we got to go adept again and go the ultimate jack of every trade.
So he's an adept that's the jack of all trades, master of none.
So I'm thinking Mimic, Squire.
And what about his adept job?
I would say Blue Mage.
Okay.
Blue
Gordon,
Magic is
the
all.
everyman who makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, this is a stretch. But
If I was gonna be doing this month, I would more make him expert squire instead, and then fencer, and then mimic.
yeah, we can do that.
Because the other one doesn't really have an identity beyond these are just kind of throwaway stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this one at least has the identity of someone who tried to do his best, even though his best wasn't good enough.
Yeah. So then we have Layla, the pirate. I guess they love the pirate character thing so much they'd revisit it for 5.
Well, here's the answer for her. First of all, she's definitely expert thief.
Mm-hmm. Going back to Gordon for 1 second, it says on here that his ultimate weapon is Gungnir.
Yeah, I'm ignoring that. I'm ignoring him. Gordon is easy to ignore. You forget he exists most of the time.
I was like, why would you give Gungnir to someone like that?
But yeah, I definitely say that she starts expert thief, and then it looks like she does some magic.
Well, she joins with Thunder 4.
Yeah.
So I would say Thief, Black Mage,
All right.
and Magic Knight.
Feeling like the Magic Knight steps a little bit on what we were doing with Furion there. Let me take a good look here. Thief, Black Mage, Merchant. She is a pirate after all.
Yeah, and Merchant is where we gave the we gave the weaponized money.
Yes. So, I think that works.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they say you can solve all problems by throwing money at them. Sometimes, in this case, literally.
Don't tell the military that. They might throw money on a project that doesn't need it.
Oh, shit.
Too late.
So
There's a term for that, Monk. It's an old term that a lot of people don't realize is the term. Who knows the term for spending too much money on a military venture? Good.
a tax write-off.
I mean, that's another term for it too. Boondoggle.
Mm-mm. Yep. But Ricard Highwind, the last Dragoon.
So obviously he gets Dragoon.
Yep, so warrior class gets Dragoon. I think I know we did Weapon Master already, but I think we kind of have to again here.
Let me look here. I would say Dragoon. I don't think he needs Weapon Master. I don't think it's very necessary.
What would you go with instead, Fencer?
No, I don't think he. I would actually probably try and give him, because he's very much just about being a Dragoon.
Mm-hmm.
I would find ways to support him otherwise outside of him. Though that's easier said than done. Hold on a second.
That's why I suggested Weapon Master, because Weapon Master is one of our go-tos for someone who's really, really good at one particular weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's why we gave it to Cloud, because his whole thing is being really, really damn good with the Buster Sword and subsequent great swords he gets.
No, Monk, I have a good one for him that isn't Weapon Master.
What?
Chocobo Knight. He is bonded to a wyvern after all.
All right. Chocobo Knights, and what would be the third?
The third one, I think, is we're looking too much into he's too good with his weapons. What about the fact that his armor defines who he is? Magitech Knight.
All right, I can go with that.
Because he like, literally, we never see him outside of that fucking armor. Ever.
Yeah. He did kind of define what would be the look of the Dragoon until Kane would come along and perfect it 2 games later.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he's the reason the name Highwind is the staple that it is. But then we have Scott.
Scott, is literally a red mage, and I do mean that. Look at what he has when you start with him: Fire, Blizzard, Thunder Cure, and Life.
Mhm.
He's an all-rounder too. He's another all-round. Though, goddamn, look at his use with shields. Fuck.
That's a high evasion rate if I've ever seen.
Would you go
Paladin-
mage or adept with Scott?
I would go adept, paladin, red mage. Paladin because of that sword and shield, man. He's definitely meant to stop shit from coming through. And
which I can certainly see it. Since his ultimate weapon is the Wild Rose, he'd probably go with maybe with sword just as well with Furion.
yeah, I would say that the third class for him would probably be Dervish. As Sig just pointed out, that evasion rate though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the way I see it is Paladin, Red Mage, Dervish.
Mhm. So, see, then Princess Hilda.
Princess Hilda. Are we sure we're not talking about Princess Zelda? Oh wait, wrong game. This isn't Link Between Worlds.
Though,
No, Princess Hilda is not a playable character ever.
yeah, so she can get skipped. Let me see. Paul can also get skipped because he's not playable, and
Sid is, well, Sid. He's technically the first Sid.
mhm. I do find it funny that Sid was intended to be a Yoda-like character, and yet how he looks. How the hell did you get that?
Well, I find it even funnier that the reason they use the word Sid for his name is because it's from El Cid, monk. The dialectal Arabic word Sidi or Said, which means lord or master. Yes,
Words.
that makes every Cid an El Cid, monk.
In the words of Hermes, that just raises further questions. Because while
I have many questions.
Rodrigo de Vivar was very good at siege warfare, but how do you get that from? How do you go from that to airship engineer?
According to what I'm reading here, it says he was a white knight of Finn before he went off with his airship.
You know what, monk? Before he started building airships, he was a white knight, a great warrior for his. Did I not just say he is El Cid?
And Luke speaks to Yoda, even though he doesn't know it, as looking for a great warrior, which just makes this thing even worse.
Mm-hmm.
But it is the exact kind of thing that I love about this sort of thing, is that mixing of inspirations, which a lot of people don't want to do. Something that I do, admittedly, if I realize this is never going to happen, but there's a small part of me that would have loved to see some of the earlier drafts to see what got lost. The wiki talks about a early draft that involved a battle for succession, which I would run that. Would not have it as bad as the Succession Wars in BattleTech, because oh boy. You think, some of you may think that the apocalyptic world destruction in 40K is excessive. Let me introduce you to the Inner Sphere, where we've been fucking each other over for 500 years. and only stopped screwing each other over because some assholes from deep space decided to show up. Like, I love BattleTech, but the four Succession Wars I would say could be described as a clown show, but that would be an insult to clown shows.
Yeah.
When casual nuking of planets is a thing, I think we've gone a step too far. Or just fighting over a planet for so long that somebody nukes it and says, fine, nobody gets it. And that's not getting into the whole thing with Comstar. Remember, pay your bills, fucko. But now, when it comes to the monster list and the like, I think much like with 2 weeks ago, there's not enough reason for us to go into that. At least in terms of that's something that I can do on my own end. And when it comes to the weapons, a lot of the ultimate weapons we already have accounted for.
And those that we don't could be easily built out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for example, looking at the Wild Rose. If we look at the Wild Rose, all it is a really strong sword that can cast Berserk.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm gonna go look at the actual stats for this weapon. 100 attack power, near 100% accuracy, evasion of 1%, gives plus 99 to strength and intelligence when used as an item by casting Berserk 16.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, this is a melee dueling weapon with physical metatype that is also a magic item that has spellcasting Berserk.
Yeah.
It's not that impressive.
This is also why I'm not going into the weapon categories in FF2.
Yep.
Because a lot of them we already have accounted for.
Mm-hmm.
So that will wrap things up for this particular episode of Fated Continuum. A lot of the back-end stuff I will end up doing on my own, and eventually I will be posting them in the homebrew section of the Discord, and then eventually putting them up as their own itch pages. I'll probably make one itch page just for Fated Continuum that has all of the documents. I don't think that's going to happen for several months. Now, with that said, next week will be the return of the Record of Swordforged Worlds podcast, where we will be going whole hog into the history of Sword World, starting with its earliest incarnations and its loose association with Lodos, all the way through the edition change up to modern times, which is why that episode will be titled "One Sword, Two Worlds."
Yep.
So keep an eye out for that. And of course, in 2 weeks, we'll be back here talking about Final Fantasy III and how we'd adapt it. And that will be an interesting beast.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I will also note, I do want to give special thanks to Aquid on the lead translator for the Sword World fan translation project, for providing me with a lot of material to help out. And as far as when we cover 3, I know somebody is inevitably going to ask, are you going to be using the Vancian model as it was in 3 and even in the DS version of 3?
No.
and anyone who wants it can go fuck themselves or do it themselves. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, and that's final.
Let me be very specific here. Not even Jack Vance uses the Vancian novel in the tabletop game based off of his own fucking novels.
Yeah.
The Vancian model is not in those TTRPGs.
The only thing that's come close to something Jack Vance related that uses it is a Dying Earth version of Dungeon Crawl Classics, which I have no interest in running. And if somebody wants to know, why do you have such a hate boner for the Vancian model? There is a musing on my channel that goes into detail for about 20 minutes as to why, even if some people completely miss the damn point.
I'll put it this way, and this is going to be a very broad reason. The Vancian model is very interesting for narrative purposes. Mechanically, it's a fucking clusterfuck.
Mm-mm. And I'm somebody who likes to mix narrative with mechanics. I just find it funny that despite everyone saying about how great and strategic the system is, I only see it within that bubble.
Excuse me. Sorry, that came out of nowhere.
Maybe you should get that looked at.
Yeah, probably.
But
no, Monk, do you know what I love about the people who say that? They are hypocrites, one and all. Because they're like, oh, it's so useful and tactical and it's really strategical choices. And then they bitch when they have to use any of those resources because now they're going to have to long rest to get them all back.
which is the exact kind of thing that I warned about.
It's
almost like I know what I'm talking about.
It's almost like none of us in this room are fucking retarded.
But we'll be back here next week with that, and stay tuned later tonight because I've got a couple things coming down the pipeline for you all to enjoy. But until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.
年中心